Good day, students. Welcome to our Module 5 of our course Math 21 Advanced Engineering Mathematics. Position vector. So position vector of A of a point A of x, y, z is written as, so you have your A is equal to A sub xi plus A sub yj plus A sub zk. So this is your graphical depiction. We have your three-dimensional plane. So you have your x, y, and z. So this is your vector A. So we have your x-axis, y-axis, and your z-axis. So the magnitude of this vector A is given by, so we have that's equal to the square root of A sub x squared plus A sub y squared plus A sub c squared. Unit and resultant vector. Unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is equal to 1 and is parallel to a given position vector. So we have your unit vector is equal to A divided by the absolute value of A is equal to A sub xi plus A sub yj plus A sub zk divided by the square root of your A sub x squared plus A sub y squared plus A sub z squared. And we have your resultant vector. It is a vector representing the sum of two or more vectors. It is done by adding the coefficients of I, j, and k separately. First example, we need to find the unit vector associated with the vector 18i plus 3j plus 29k. For your solution, the given is A, your vector A, 18i plus 3j plus 29k. We need to find the unit vector using the formula your vector A divided by the magnitude of A. So it's equal to 18i plus 3j plus 29k divided by the square root of 18 squared plus 3 squared plus 29 squared. So now unit vector, the answer is we have 0.5253i plus 0.0876j plus 0.8484k. Next example, we need to find the length of the resultant of the following vectors. 3i plus 4j minus 5k, and then 7i plus 2j plus 3k, and negative 16i minus 14j plus 2k. For the solution, so the given, we have your A made vector, we have your B vector, and your vector C from the given problem. And then we're going to find the length. First, we need to find R. So we have to add the coefficients of I, J, and K separately. So for your I, we have your 3 plus 7 minus 16. That's for your I. For your J, 4 plus 2 minus 14. And then for K, negative 5 plus 3 plus 2. So adding the coefficients, we now have R is equal to negative 6i minus 8j plus 0k. Then we're going to find the magnitude of R that's equal to the square root of negative 6 squared plus negative 8 squared plus 0 squared. Your answer is 10. We'll proceed to the dot product. So the dot product of your two vectors, A and B, is a scalar quantity. And it is defined as the product of the magnitudes of the two vectors and the cosine of their included angle. So let your A, vector A, and vector V be. So you have the dot product of A and B is equal to the magnitudes of A and B, then multiplied by your cosine of the included angle. Or, simply, the dot product of A and B is equal to A sub x times sub x plus A sub y, B sub y plus A sub z, B sub z. Take note that the dot product is commutative. So, A times the dot product of B is equal to the dot product of B and A. For example, given vectors A is equal to 2i plus 4j plus 8k and vector B negative 2i plus j minus 4k. Solve the dot product of vectors A and B and the angle between them. For your solution, the given are the vectors A and vector B. And then, we're going to solve for dot product. So, the dot product of A and B is equal to 2 times negative 2 plus 4 times 1 plus 8 times negative 4. That's equal to negative 32. Next, we're going to solve for the magnitude of vector A. That's equal to square root of 2 squared plus 4 squared plus 8 squared. That's equal to square root of 84. Then next, we're going to solve for the magnitude of vector B is equal to the square root of negative 2 squared plus 1 squared plus negative 4 squared. That's equal to negative square root of 21. And then, recalling for the formula of the dot product of A and B is equal to the magnitudes of your vectors A and B times your cosine of theta. We're going to solve for the value of angle theta. Then by solving for cosine theta, that's equal to the dot product of A and B and the product of your magnitudes of vectors A and B. So we have negative 32 and then divided by the square root of 84 multiplied by the square root of 21. And then now your theta is equal to 139.63 degrees. Next, we have your cross product. So the cross product of your two vectors A and B is a vector R whose magnitude is the product of the magnitudes of the two vectors and the sine of their included angle. So let your given vector A and B, so the cross product of vectors A and B is equal to the product of the magnitude of vectors A and B multiplied by your sine of the included angle theta. Or, the cross product of A and B is, we have your matrix in here with the elements I, J, K, and then we have your A sub X, A sub Y, A sub Z, and then your B sub X, B sub Y, and your B sub Z. We're going to solve for the determinant of this matrix to determine now your cross product. Take note that the cross product is not commutative. So that means if you get the cross product of A and B, that's not equal to getting your cross product of B and A. So hence it is not commutative. For example, we're going to solve for the cross product of vectors A and B in example 3. From example 3, your vector A is 2i plus 4j plus 8k, and your vector B is negative 2i plus j minus 4k. We're going to solve for the cross product of A and B. So we're going to solve for the determinant of this matrix. So for the elements of this matrix, for the first row you have your I, j, and k. For the second row, you have the coefficients of your vector A, 2, 4, and 8. And for the last row, we have your coefficients of your vector B, that is negative 2, 1, and negative 4. So to solve for the determinant of this matrix, we need to apply the concepts as discussed in your advanced algebra course. So a review is provided in your Google Classroom accounts. So it was already uploaded. So we're going to consider first for the solving the determinant, we're going to solve for those diagonal in this pattern minus all the products along with this. So we have, first we're going to solve all. So we have I times 4 times negative 4. So you have negative 16i. And then you have your j times 8 times negative 2. That is negative 16j. And then we have next k times 1 times 2. That is positive 2k. And then minus. So you have your minus here. Elements going this pattern. So you have negative 2 times 4 times k. This is negative 8k. And then we have 2 times j times negative 4. That is negative 8j. And then we have your I times 8 times 1. That is negative 8i. So subtracting this to this, we now have, so negative 16i minus positive 8i, that is negative 24i. And then negative 16j minus negative 8j, so that is negative 8j plus, so you have your positive 2k minus negative 8k, that is positive 10k. So take note this in red text. So this is a correction for your module. Next, we proceed to the applications of your vector analysis. First, we have vector projection. So the vector projection of vector A on a non-zero vector B is the orthogonal projection of A onto a straight line that is parallel to vector B. So we have your vector A in here, and then your vector B. So we now have, this is the vector projection of A on B. The vector projection of A on B is the unit vector of B by the scalar projection of A on B. So the projection of A on B is equal to the dot product of A and B divided by the magnitude of your vector B squared times B. Or we have the dot product of A and B divided by the magnitude of your vector B multiplied by your vector B divided by the magnitude of vector B. The scalar projection of A on B is the magnitude of the vector projection of A on B. So in solving for the scalar projection of A on B, so we now have the dot product of A and B divided by your magnitude of vector B. For example, given vectors A is equal to 10i minus 2j plus 8k and vector B 2i minus 6j plus 3k, so we're going to solve the projection vector of A on B and projection of A on B. For the solution, we are given the two vectors A and B, and then we're going to solve for the dot product of A and B is equal to 10 times 2 plus negative 2 times negative 6 plus 8 times 3, that's equal to 56. And then we're going to solve for the magnitude of your vector B is equal to square root of 2 squared plus negative 6 squared plus 3 squared, that's equal to 7. And then for the projection vector of A on B, that's equal to this formula, or that is 56 divided by 7 squared times vector B, which is 2i minus 6j plus 3k. So this now equal to 2.2857i minus 6.8571j plus 3.4286k. And then we're going to solve for projection of A on B. Is equal to that product of A and B divided by the resultant of your, or magnitude of your vector B. That's equal to 56 divided by 7. So that's equal to 8. Another application of your vector analysis is in solving for the area of a parallelogram. So the area of a parallelogram is equal to the magnitude of the cross product of A and B. So this is your parallelogram. You have vectors A and B. And then we also use vector analysis in solving for the area of a triangle. So that's equal to 1/2 of the magnitude of your cross product of A and B. So this is the graphical depiction. So you have your vector A and B. So take note, this means magnitude of A, the cross product of A and B. Also, we use this in solving for the volume of a rectangular parallelepiped. So the volume is equal to the dot product of your vector A and the cross product of your vectors B and C. So this is your given rectangular parallelepiped with the vectors A, B, and C. Take note that this is called your triple scalar product. For example, we're going to find the area of a parallelogram with sides identified by vectors from the origin. Your vector A is 3i plus 4j, and your vector B is 8i. So in solving this, these are the given vectors A and B, and then we're going to solve for the cross product of A and B. So your I, j, k, and then your coefficients of vector A, 3, 4, and 0, and then the coefficients of your vector B, 8. So 0, 0, and then we're to solve the determinant of this matrix. So we have your 0i plus 0j plus 0k minus 32k plus 0j plus 0i. So that's equal to 0i plus 0j plus 32k. So therefore, your cross product of A and B is equal to 32k. So in getting the area, so it's equal to the magnitude of your cross product. So we now have the square root of your 0 squared plus 0 squared plus 32 squared that's equal to 32 square units. Next example, we're going to determine the area of a triangle with vertices at P. We have points 2, 3, and 5, Q, 4, 2, negative 1, and R, 3, 6, and 4. So we have your triangle with vector A and B, and then the given are the vertices P, Q, and R. So we have your P, we have your 2, 3, 5, then we have your Q, 4, 2, negative 1, and your R, 3, 6, 4. So first, we're going to solve for vector A and vector B. So in doing that, we're going to solve for the vector PQ and PR. So your vector PQ is Q minus P. So that is, so 4 minus 2, you have 2i. So 2 minus 3, that is negative j. And then negative 1 minus 5, that is negative 6k. And then we're going to solve for the vector PR. So that's r minus p. So you have your 3 minus 2, you have your I. 6 minus 3, that's 3j. And 4 minus 5, that is negative k. So we're going to solve for the cross product of A and B. And then this is the matrix I, j, k. And then we have your 2, negative 1, negative 6. And for this row. And then we have 1, 3, and negative 1 for this row. So solving this determinant, so we obtain I minus 6j plus 6k minus negative k minus 2j minus 18i. So the cross product of A and B is equal to 19i minus 4j plus 7k. So the area is equal to the 1/2 of the magnitude of A, the product of cross product of A and B. That's equal to 1/2. That's the square root of 19 squared plus negative 4 squared plus 7 squared, that's equal to 10.32 square units. Next example, we're going to find the volume of a parallelepiped by the vectors I plus j plus k, and then 2I minus j minus 3k, and 3j minus k. So for the solution, this is the formula for the volume of a parallelepiped, and then your vector A is I plus j plus k, and then your vector B is 2I minus j minus 3k, and your vector C is 3j minus k. And then now, applying the formula, we're going to solve first for the cross product of B and C. So we have your elements I, j, k, and then for the next row, we have your 2 minus negative 1, so that's negative 1, and then negative 3. And then for the third row, we have your C, so there's no I, so we have your 0 for I, and then 3, and then negative 1. And then, solving for the determinant of this, so you now have I plus 0j plus 6k minus 0k minus 2j minus 9i. So this is equal to 10i plus 2j plus 6k. And then the next, we're going to solve for the dot product of your A matrix and the cross product of B and C. So we now have, so this is your cross product B and C, and this is your vector A. So we have 1 times 10 plus 1 times 2 plus 1 times 6. So that's equal to 18 cubic units. Next, we proceed to the gradient of a scalar field. So let your nabla, this is the symbol nabla, is equal to the partial derivative of I with respect to x plus the partial derivative of j with respect to y and the partial derivative of k with respect to z. And then now, the gradient of a scalar field is defined as, so the gradient of your phi, gradient phi is equal to nabla phi, that's equal to the partial derivative of phi with respect to x, I, plus the partial derivative of phi with respect to y, j, plus the partial derivative of phi with respect to z times your k. So where your phi x comma y comma z has continuous partial derivatives. And then we have the divergence of a vector field. So it is defined as the dot product of your nabla and vector A, or that is the partial derivative of A sub x with respect to x plus the partial derivative of A sub y with respect to y plus the partial derivative of A sub z with respect to z. So where your A's of x comma y comma z has continuous partial derivatives. Next, we have your curl of a vector field. It is defined by the cross product of your nabla and vector A, or that is getting the determinant of this matrix with your elements I, j, k for the first row. For the second row, we have your partial derivative with respect to x, partial derivative with respect to y, and the partial derivative with respect to z. And then for the third row, we have your a sub x, a sub y, and a sub z. So for example, so if your phi is equal to x cubed z squared e raised to y, and a is equal to x e raised to zi minus xy squared j plus 3x squared zk. So we're going to solve for the gradient of phi, and then the divergence of A, and then the curl of A. To do that, first, the gradient of phi is equal to the partial derivative of phi. So we have partial derivative of x cubed z squared e raised to y with respect to x times I plus the partial derivative of phi again with respect to y times your j plus the partial derivative of your phi again with respect to z times your k. So in partial derivatives, so if this is with respect to x, we will hold your other variables as constants. So in this case, if this is with respect to x, we will hold z and y as constants. For the second term, this is with respect to y. We will hold your x and z as constants. And then for this, we have with respect to z, we will hold x and y as constants. So solving that, so the partial derivative of this with respect to x, so this is now your constant, z squared and e raised to y. So the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared, and then the constant, copy. So z squared plus times e raised to y, so times I. So plus, we're going to get the partial derivative of this with respect to y. So derivative of e raised to y. And then x cubed times z squared, this is your constant. So we have your x cubed, c squared, constant yan, times your derivative of this, we have e raised to y. So times j plus the partial derivative of this with respect to z. So your x and y are constants. So the derivative of z squared is 2z. So we now have 2x cubed z e raised to y k. So this is now your gradient phi. And then the divergence of a, so we have the partial derivative of your a sub x. So we have your x e raised to z with respect to x plus the partial derivative of a sub y. So your a sub y is negative xy squared. So that's with respect to y. And then the partial derivative of a sub z. So we have your 3x squared times z with respect to z. So again, getting the partial derivatives. So for this term, with respect to x, so we held e raised to z as constant. So we have derivative of x is 1. So we have your constant e raised to z. And then, the partial derivative of this with respect to y, your x is constant. So we have 2y, derivative of y squared. So we have negative 2xy plus partial derivative of this, we have to held this as a constant, your x. So we have derivative of z is 1. So we have 3x squared. And then, solving for the curl of A, so we have this matrix. So I, J, K, and then these partial derivatives. And then this is your A sub x. So we have your x e raised to z. This is your A sub y. We have negative xy squared. And this is your A sub z. We have 3x squared z. So, applying your concepts on determinants, so you have I, and then partial derivative of y, and then your 3x squared z, and then j, partial derivative with respect to z, and x e raised to z, and then k, then partial derivative with respect to x of negative xy squared, and then subtracted 2, so we have the partial derivative of y of x e raised to z k, and then plus the partial derivative with respect to x of 3x squared z times j, plus we have the partial derivative with respect to z of negative xy squared times your I. So solving these partial derivatives, so again, if a partial derivative is with respect to this variable, we held other variables as constants. So we now have, for this, we have 0i. Since these are all constants, we have 0i. And then for this, your z is here. So the derivative of e raised to z is the same, e raised to z times your constant x. So you have x e raised to z j plus, so you have your, with respect to x, so the derivative of x is 1. So we have negative x y squared k. So this one minus, so with respect to y, so these are all constants, we have 0k plus So we have with respect to x, so the derivative of x squared is 2x. So we have 6xz times j. And then for this term, with respect to z, so these are constants. So we have 0i. So subtracting these two terms, we now have the simplified form. So that's x times e raised to z minus 6z times j minus y squared k.